أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله إن الحمد لله نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا ومتعنا اللهم بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحييتنا واجعله الوارث منا واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا وانصرنا اللهم على من عادانا ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا يا رب العالمين أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد وأصلي وأسلم على مبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وعنا معهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the most compassionate, the most merciful all praise and thanks are due to him and peace and blessings be upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam he who is guided by the will of Allah no one can misguide him and he who is misguided no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The tragic humanitarian crisis in Palestine. This is our topic, the most hot topic on earth now. As I said in the previous khutbah, I will deal just with the humanitarian aspect. I will avoid talking about political and religious. I want to educate ourselves how to deal with the majority of people who might really be completely ignorant about what's happening. I want to depend on the common background between us and the others. We are living in the West. You can witness the propaganda. You can witness the misleading information. You can witness the brainwashing of some mainstream media. So therefore, I will be doing the following. I will be quoting some of the main titles from the Human Rights Watch, UNICEF, and the Canadian Council of Imams. As an imam, we received a letter from Canadian Council of Imams who represent about 2 million Muslims. They give us some certain messages so that to address your respected selves. The message is a little bit long, so I just picked and chose part of it. So let's see. Now, humanitarian aspects. And we are not quoting now Arabs or Muslims. I'm not quoting Al Jazeera. I'm not quoting a Muslim organization, Human Rights Watch, which basically primarily is based in the West, is funded by the West. Now, on their main websites, one of the main titles and articles, with Gaza sealed off, Palestinians face aid freezes too. Even the humanitarian aids are freezed. They are not allowed even to receive food or these things. Amid the humanitarian crisis, cutting off vital lifeline would be damaging. This is the title of the article. They are warning the supply of electricity, fuel, water will completely, actually it's not will, has already cut off completely. As if they are warning from ethnic cleansing, a genocide, literally. Right. Let's go to what they say on their official websites. Literally, I'm quoting now the Human Rights Watch. The Israeli government also cut off Gaza's electricity, fuel, water, and food in what is described as a total siege. The UNICEF, I'm quoting the UNICEF now. Large numbers of victims in Gaza are children. So if someone is concerned about civilians and children in specific, tell them that the majority of people who died are children. Let them know, because maybe they don't know. Now, another title on the Human Rights Watch official website. I found an article. It was posted on their official website on April 27th, 2021, which means 2 years ago. Look what the Human Rights Watch says, the title: Authorities and the Crimes of Apartheid and Persecution in Israel. The Human Rights Watch is describing the Israeli regime as an apartheid and persecution crimes against the Palestinians. So the point, why I'm quoting this, you know why? Because the last few days, we feel really very sad as Muslims, how some or many politicians and many mainstream media people, they decided to close an eye and just to see in one eye, and that's it. Completely. Anyone with not with simple logic, it needs no logic. It needs just to be a normal human being. Not logic, not even using logic. You can witness this phenomena, which is amazing. And they don't realize the credit that they are losing. The credibility is about to be damaged. Anyway, now, after quoting the Human Rights Watch and the UNICEF and some of the main titles, I will be choosing some of the paragraphs and the titles from the letter that I received from the Canadian Council of Imams. They asked us to address your respected self with some of the points. So I chose some of them because they are very long. I can't cover all things. But one of the main things that they said in the main title, images and stories of human suffering coming out of Gaza are heartbreaking and overwhelming. Part of the message. Now I'm quoting literally. They say, as Muslims, we don't have to agree with X group to speak for the human rights of Palestinian Muslims. You know why? Because when someone is pushing towards with a very strong propaganda, you will start questioning yourself about how genuine your cause is, which is, okay, common sense, but when someone is attacking all the time, you yourself as an adult, knowing the truth, might start questioning, do I have the right to express my simple, what about your kid? If you yourself start questioning whether I have the right to speak or to express, what will happen with your daughter and the son? Definitely he is lost, definitely. He will be brainwashed completely. They continue. We should not be labeled as anti-Semitic to save lives in Gaza. Anti-Semitic to save lives in Gaza. 2 millions. 2 millions. They are an open air prison. Please don't, no, be careful. What? Where is the anti-Semitism? They are professional in labeling others. At least be aware that this is happening. Be aware of your simple, humble human rights. You are living in a Western country. One of their basic things that they are proud of, the human rights and freedom of expression. So sometimes we should not accept this kind of propaganda in the media. I'm continuing quoting now. We should not be harassed for showing solidarity with Palestinians and their resistance. We should be unapologetic about our commitment to peace and justice for Palestine. I'm quoting. They continue, they put a title. They said, what is happening in Gaza? They say, I'm quoting the Canadian Council of Imams. It's estimated that by now, and this now is about 48 hours. It's estimated that by now 3,000 Palestinians, including children, have been killed by Israeli bombings since the start of escalation on the morning of October 7th. 5,184 Palestinians have been injured. About 60% of the injuries occurred by the Israeli airstrikes were among women and children in the Gaza Strip. Look now, 260,000 are internally displaced. You know, Gaza is completely like a siege. It's closed. And it's the most intense spot on earth. Yet, because the very intensive bombing, you know, they were displaced. 260,000. 3,000 killed, about 6,000 injured, 250,000 kicked out and displaced. Gaza hospitals on the brink of collapse. No supplies, no electricity. Even their private generators of electricity can work with some kind of diesel or fuel. For a few hours, 1 day, 2 days, they will collapse. They are about to collapse. And focus on this. 300,000 Israeli troops are preparing for a ground invasion, which means a genocide, while the world is watching. Literally, a possible genocide might happen at any moment. The Western media are watching, yet they are talking just one part of the victims. The other part, as if those thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, they do not exist. Now, I'm still quoting the declaration of the Imams. They say, I quote, what Palestinians have faced over the last 70 years, which means we are talking about now education. Many people, they don't know. Maybe people in my age, they are aware because they lived this thing. They witnessed part of it. But our next generation, from our kids, what about the nice non-Muslims that we live with? They know nothing. If our kids, many of them, they don't know, do you think about the others? So it's a big duty to educate. Now they're saying Israel has facilitated 700,000 Israeli Jewish settlers who now live in 300 Israeli settlements on the Palestinian land. The US government, focus now, underline it with red, please. 700,000 settlers in 300 settlements. US government, UN consider these settlements illegal. So please speak with the people in the language they understand. You know, wait. Regardless, I don't care with X, Y group. Do you know that such and such? Oh, really? Yes. 700,000 on 300. I'm not discussing the big picture now. Just because the people, they know nothing. Because they receive just one narrative, the biased one, unfortunately. Israel, I'm continuing quoting literally. Israel has displaced 5.9 million Palestinians, while Palestinians have not displaced any Israelis. How many people know this? 6 million, they were displaced, kicked out from their homes, their lands, their places. 6 million. I'm not discussing 6 people as a, happened just by mistake. No. It's a huge nation, big number of people. Israel is occupying Palestine, not the other way around. Palestinians are not occupying Israel. Wallahi, I feel funny while talking about the common sense facts to let the people know. There should have been facts. But guess what? Not anymore. Because the media can change even the facts. Even facts can be changed. It's fact maybe for you and me. It used to be fact. Everything they are trying now to change it. Israel has literally imprisoned 2 million Palestinians in Gaza as an open-air prison. UN human rights experts Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Israel's own human rights organization, which is B'Tselem, call it an apartheid state. It's not Arabs and Muslims. Even the human rights organization inside Israel, they call their own state an apartheid, depending on the separation, depending on racism, with a lot of dehumanization of hundreds of thousands. You need to know the numbers, you need to address, because the public opinion, and it's not something silly. Public opinion is what gives the legitimacy and the power for politicians. When politicians are there, they are taking decisions on behalf of those people who elected them. And they will take the right to be with that side or that side. So if you kept silent without at least you knowing the truth, then spreading the truth, then defending the truth, who will do it? Who will do it? If you and I did not do this basic, I'm not talking about the maximum, I'm just discussing the minimum now, the common ground, the humanitarian. That's why I said I'm not discussing this from religious point of view, not from Islamic or faith-based point of view, not even from political point of view. Because in politics, any politician on earth, he's ready to change his mind to every 24/7, every 24 hours. Because it depends on the interest. So forget politics, forget it about humanitarian. Because many people, they are concerned with humanitarian aspect. Okay, deal with them in the language they understand. Feed them with what they need in case if they are seeking the truth. So can you imagine? I repeat, UN human rights experts, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Israel's own human, B'Tselem, call it apartheid states. Israel has killed and injured 150,000 Palestinians, including 33,000 children since 2008. 150,000 plus 33,000 children in 15 years. I did not do my quick math, but very quickly, if we divided about 200,000 on 15 years, maybe while I'm speaking with you, in mathematical calculations, few tens of them, they are injured. Wow, who cares about this if we don't care to educate the people? Right. Let's continue. 1 in every 3 Palestinians has been arrested and charged under the 1,600 military orders that control every aspect of lives of Palestine. 20% of Palestinian population, they have been arrested. 20%. To understand it, it's like more or less 10 million or 8 million Canadians will be arrested by, for example, an attacker or occupier from outside like Russians. 10 millions. This is what? Yes. 20% of Palestinians. Right. The number of Palestinians behind Israeli bars is 5,200, including 33 women. I don't know where the women's organization for, women's human rights, including 33 women, and here comes the surprise, 170 children. They are in prison. They are tortured in prison, 170 kids. Imagine if X group is controlling or torturing children, prisoners from the other side. What will happen? And some of them, they are there since years and they will stay for years. I'm continuing now quoting the Canadian Council of Imams. Literally they say, meanwhile in Canada, I'm quoting, they say, I quote, media coverage has been extremely biased towards Israel, whereby Palestinian suffering has been completely missing and dehumanized. Politicians and government officials of all levels are vying to issue condemnations after condemnations of a certain part, while not uttering a word about the disproportionate collective punishment of Palestinians. We can all witness that They keep just talking about one part and the other part is completely closed eye, not mentioning it. Human rights organizations and concerned Muslims advocates are being attacked online for speaking for Palestinian rights and for condemning the Israeli occupation, apartheid and blockade, which is a fact that everyone can witness it. Muslims and Arabs at work and in schools are being labeled terrorists for expressing concerns about the human suffering in Gaza. I was saying in the first khutbah, when you address a Canadian nice person, if he or she cannot understand, give him the simple example. Can you imagine yourself just expressing concerns about the killed civilians in Ukraine? You will be labeled as a terrorist. What? But I'm not just showing concerns, I'm supporting them in full, even from the taxpayers. Yes, because this is resistance and they are protecting themselves. Type, why you, when showing concerns about Ukraine, are not labeled as a terrorist? You tell me, convince me. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, please use the base of common sense. While you have the right to show concern, not just to show concern, to support fully with military support, with money, with all types of aids, including the media, the Ukrainian needs, which is understandable. But why when it comes to the Palestinians, completely the standard will be changed? Why? At least let the people understand around you that there is a big ethical problem. Big ethical problem. And this should affect the coming elections. Should. Now, I'm quoting the declaration of the Imams. What can we do? They say. They put many suggestions. I chose some of them because I can't have the luxury of the time. They say supplicate, make a special dua for brothers and sisters living constantly under fear and terror in Gaza and under occupation in other parts of Palestine. If they are not in your dua, they are not in your thoughts. Remember, Allah controls the world, but we don't. End of the quote. I quote as well, one of their main points in their declaration, educate. And this is very important. Respected brothers and sisters. As long as you live in this country, by default, I'm assuming that you all speak English. Which means you have an access to write, to discuss, to debate, to translate. And practically, we know that the majority of us, we do have 3 hours on social media on a daily basis. Many of us, we waste our time normally on social media. Let's save every single minute, actually every single second on social media by replying, explaining, forwarding. Go to the mainstream media, X or Twitter, the previous Twitter, Instagram, whatever, choose. Wherever someone is misleading the people, you speak English. It's your language, especially anyone who was born here. You know the mentality. You know the language, the terminology they understand. Tell them about the truth. Let them be aware how much they have been misled in terms of the information. This is the least of what we can do about education. I'm quoting now. Educate yourself and others about the history of Al-Aqsa in Palestine, as well as the magnitude of human suffering under apartheid occupation and blockade. Help your neighbors, co-workers, and classmates understand the media bias and share the stories of Palestinians for over 7 decades. It's not a new problem. 75 years of suffering. Many people, they don't know. They see just what happened last week. Just what happened last week. So if you don't explain the context, now anything, if it is taken out of context, basically will be misunderstood. So bring the people to the context. Now they continue, I'm quoting, advocate. They say under advocate, they give suggestions for you and me, the Canadian Council of Imams. Challenge TV channels, radio stations, newspapers, social media influencers for dehumanization of Palestinians and erasure of Palestinian suffering. Go, speak. Do your best. Write. Try to say something. Because the majority of us, we have access to social media. And some of us, they are very powerful in this, especially who have the native English. I'm addressing those people. If you know you are mastering the skills of English, you know how to use the terminology, I think it's fard ayn. It's an obligation to do something. Translate, spread, debate, discuss, explain, refute, whatever. I mean, depending on your field of specialization, the points that you are powerful in. Challenge TV channels, radio stations, newspapers, social media influencers for the dehumanization of Palestinians. Demand fair coverage of Palestinian voices and stories. Go to the influencers. When you see him covering just one side, send him a message. Shame on you. Shame on you. On what basis you want me just to be a fan for you, and when a problem happens, you cover just one side? Where is the ethical standard? Tell them. Let them know that we have, at least in this country, 2 million. They feel very sad for the biased coverage. Let them know. Influencer on who? When he or she knows that they are not considered an ethical, acceptable human beings anymore, they will rethink. Some of them, they might be nice and good, but they don't know. Some of them, they worship fame. They worship money. If they know that they will be attacked, they will be criticized by 2 millions, they will rethink about, the biased attitude that they are doing. So it's our duty, because they don't know. Or even if they know, they don't care. Either we will educate the one who does not know, or we will let the one who does not care cares. This is how politics work. Challenge now, I'm quoting the Council of Imams, challenge your MP and the Prime Minister for their selective human rights and for not condemning the Israeli bombing and killing of children and civilian Palestinians. The MPs, they come to our places begging us literally for their votes. And very soon they will come begging for votes. We are 2 million. Please take screenshots for what they are doing now. Please, I urge you, take screenshots for memory. When they come here, just excuse me, sir, ma'am, you said such and such. How can you justify this? Let them at least apologize and take a vote for their apology so that they know, because, the main core point of elections and democracy is accountability. If there is no accountability, nothing has any value. Why do you think politicians in the West really, they follow the order? Why do you think? Because they are angels? Because of accountability. Because the main body of the people, they bring them to accountability. They bring them to accountability, either to kick them out of authority or not to allow them to be a candidate, or even to bring them to jail when they make a crime. The accountability, what gives the balance of what's so-called human rights. So if they just come and they say, Assalamu alaikum, brother Muslim and something, and we, oh, mashallah, he's saying Assalamu alaikum, and that's it. We vote for him and we go asleep. That's it. But do we follow what they put on their Twitter? Do we see he's supporting what? You are representing me. I'm the one, let's use their language. I'm the one who gave you the votes. You are there because of me. So you should be what? Representing me. This is the common sense of this world. So I know I might understand the excuse of some of us, including myself. We came from the great Arab world because we don't know what elections are. We don't know what someone is representing someone else means. So we don't feel the power of this. Okay, some of us. What about the rest of us? What about those who were educated here? What about those who are living and they know the system? They need. I'm just now explaining to you what the Imams are encouraging. Challenge your MP and the Prime Minister for their selective human rights and for not condemning the Israeli bombing and killing of Palestinians. Be respectful. Focus on facts. Don't exaggerate. Just as I told you, I'm quoting now Human Rights Watch, Amnesty. Numbers and figures. Be respectful. Don't use any words of hate speech or attacking or blasphemy or something. Just numbers. Human rights, we said. They lost, we lost. They didn't, so look, okay, just use the language of the logic. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us. Allahumma ameen. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help and to protect the people of Palestine. Oh Allah, bestow your mercy on them. Oh Allah, open the doors of sustenance and provide relief to the besieged. Oh Allah, heal the wounded men and women and children of Gaza. And oh Allah, bring peace in Gaza and in the persecution. اللهم هذا حالنا لا يخفى عليك وضعفنا ظاهر بين يديك فانصرنا بنصرك واغفر لنا ذنوبنا واستر عيوبنا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم لا تؤاخذنا بما فعل السفهاء منا ولا تؤاخذنا بما نسينا أو أخطأنا. نعوذ بك يا الله من هذا العجز ونحن نرى إخواننا ولا نستطيع صرفا ولا دفعا ولا وصولا. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك ضعف قوتنا وقلة حيلتنا وهواننا على الناس. اللهم إنا نستودعك المسجد الأقصى وأهل فلسطين وأهل غزة ومسرى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا من لا تضيع عنده الودائع. اللهم احفظهم بحفظك ورعايتك يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنهم أهلنا قد ظلموا بغير حق وأخرجوا من ديارهم ومنعوا. اللهم فانتصر لهم واربط على قلوبهم وردهم إلى ديارهم آمنين. اللهم كن عونا لإخواننا في فلسطين. اللهم انصرهم وارزقهم القوة والصبر واربط على قلوبهم وأنزل عليهم من رحماتك. اللهم داوي جرحاهم واشف مرضاهم وتقبل موتاهم. اللهم رد إليهم شبابهم الأسرى يا رب يا الله. اللهم ارحمنا فوق الأرض وتحت الأرض ويوم العرض عليك يا كريم. اللهم إنا عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمائك نواصينا بيدك ماض فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا وجلاء أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وأقم الصلاة.